Good morning, good morning. It is Wednesday, and that means it is house tours. We've missed a couple of weeks on that, so I apologize for that again. But sickness is sickness, and sometimes these things happen and you can't avoid it. Hopefully, though, we have nipped that in the bud and we won't have that issue. Of course, I'm puny, so it may happen again, but hopefully we can avoid that. Um, Before we get started today, I want to catch up on a few bits of news. Of course, we have the scheduled maintenance today at 4 a.m. PST. That would be 1 p.m. CET time, and it is scheduled to last approximately 2 hours and 30 minutes. So keep that in mind. If you have some gaming you'd like to get in this morning rather than watching this, that's perfectly fine. We upload all of these videos to YouTube so you can watch them at your leisure later. I know some enjoy watching it while maintenance is actually ongoing. It's a good time passer, so just thought I'd mention that. Good morning, Aurora. Glad you could join. And anyone else that happens to be lurking around at this hour. Next, I know it's been a while since it's been up, but of course I've been out of the picture for a little bit, so I'm just going to get caught up on that. And that would be the Dev Connect. There is a alternate advancement systems discussion going on. I haven't really looked at it too much myself, but apparently they're wanting to look at players' opinions of how they feel about alternate advancement systems, and I guess in other games or in games in general, and what kind of systems they think would be beneficial to WildStar, and the ideas that players have. So this is your chance if you are an altaholic and really want to see them advance a little easier than they have been, like maybe in the area of reputation gains or something like that, or just leveling quicker, uh, bypassing certain areas that you've already done umpteen times and or something like that. This will be your chance to get your say-so in it. I know these Dev Connects kind of sometimes it feels like there's a lot of stuff that they don't take in, but I think it's safe to assume that they're reading it all. And so even if you don't feel like your idea will be picked up, please do share it so you can at least say you gave it a shot. And you never know, they might actually incorporate some of your ideas into future systems that they decide to incorporate into WildStar directly. I don't know if it's actually hit the store yet. I haven't checked, but I saw a tweet about Madam Faye bringing in some new wares for that little bit, I guess the token gambling or whatever. It looks like aside from costumes, mounts, and a pet, it looks to be some kind of a jousting fab kit. So those that have medieval type um, themes, castles and things like that, this might be a great addition to that kind of a plot. It could be something else. It could be just the materials to put one together, but it looked like a fab kit to me. Okay, so we're going to try and soldier on through this. I say that because I'm not feeling quite um, well this morning. It's mostly due to some side effects to some of the medications I've been taking. Anyway, we'll try and get past that. In fact, let me take this off. It's getting a little warm. And good morning, Poi and Bones and everyone else. This is My Angel's Paradise. You may recognize it. It's actually a plot we've toured in the past. I think the last time we visited was in March of last year. But they have done some major renovations on it with some of the new items. Like you can see that they're using the new waterfalls, for example. It's on my list, and we're going to retour it for you guys today to see what changes they have put in. So some of it's going to be pretty similar to what we saw before. I was looking at the old video this morning a little bit just to kind of catch up to be able to note what actually has changed and what hasn't. I didn't get through all of it, but I think you'll be able to tell some of the new stuff from the last time we visited for those of you that were here with us last year. So this is the plot of Serana Arcanian. And I'm pretty sure if you didn't catch the initial tour that we did last year, probably the thing that stands out most is the way that they fashioned the plot to look like everything is afloat in the sky. I believe, if I remember correctly, this was achieved by layering glass to not only cover up the ground below, but also kind of whites out a lot of the bracketry that's along the edges of the plot. It's a technique that popped up sometime last year, and then we saw several other builders use it in a similar fashion. It's bright, but it's different from your typical little floating single island. This is a floating multitude of islands, so it's a really unique approach that I don't think everyone has figured out how to do perfectly. This is probably one of the better ones. There's a few others that we've been to that didn't hide some of the little metal bits along the side as well as before, but or as well as this one. But this is a great example of how this particular hiding of the ground can give you a different look. I'm sure there are those that would prefer one that maybe puts you out into space or something, so it's just completely black with stars or whatever. But this is about as close as you can get to it with the glass, the layered glass look. So even the teleport pad is made out to be like a little floating pad of stone. And that's basically just, I think it's the gray uh, stepping stone that you can get from the housing vendor that's laid on here. Unfortunately, as we discovered, or I discovered via, I think it was Bones that was going to help me set it up, the sandstone version, which is shaped the same, doesn't work the same. You can't put it over, it doesn't have a hollow interior like the gray one does. So that's the only downside to the stones. You can only use the gray one for that, but you can see it works fabulously. It just kind of, they added some grasses and overgrowth bits and made it look like a little floating little pad there. As you go up, it does get a little risky because the fall is a pretty good height, especially when you go up to the higher islands. Do be careful. For the most part, rope bridges are used, so that makes it easier for those of us that are a little jumping and inclined to fall when we jump. But there are the path leading to the main house, I believe, and then a little section here requires stone jumping, so be especially careful there. This little statue here has been recently added. I don't think it was anywhere else. I think this was actually blank when we first visited the plot. So you can see they've added some of the spring plants, lots of overgrowth, and little patches of grass and such to make it look a little bit better than just leaving it a flat plane of grass. Now the patches of ground is actually upside down snowy hills. So this tells you that they're actually using the Celestion ground option for their plot. But because of the white glass that's being layered up, you don't see that down below, but it's mirrored by the upside down snowy hills. Now, in previous times, before we had the snowy hills, the only way you could achieve this was by using the upside down massive umbrella tree. The problem with it was you always had to contend with or deal with the the roots of the tree sticking out, and of course you'd probably see the clump of tree topping as well. So the Snowy Hill edition has been a great save. Not only is it more readily available, it comes directly from the housing vendor, it's much cheaper. I think the massive umbrella trees have been in, like cost plat or more, and this is only like 50 silver, so it's a great addition to the builder's tools. And welcome back, Aurora. Just a little bit of announcements mostly. We're just getting started on Serana's plot. Again, this is a retour, so a lot of this you will probably remember from the last time if you were around. But uh, hopefully you'll be able to see some of the added extras. You can see that they're using the, again, with the new waterfalls, we're going to see a lot of the lily plants probably, and you can see the little flitter flies buzzing around as well. One thing I did point out the last time we were here was that they didn't like fashion a little island and then just copied it straight up for all of the islands. You can see there's different shapes, different arrangements of plants. Some have the ivies from like the what's it called, the spring decor pack. Some are just ferns, others are mossy overgrowth, some are regular overgrowths. There's just all different arrangements. And the shapes of the stone islands are different as well. You can see this one's more pointed. This is a little bit less so, and then even less so here. Even the big ones, they're all different. I really appreciate the time that was put in to get those to be individualized like that. So we'll visit this one first. I think this is the route we took the last time we were here, so I'm going to try and stick with it as best I can. So this is the little Exonite shriny area. One of the things I noted before was that it kind of has a purple tint to it. I think that's just to do with the sky that they chose, the lighting, but I'm really not sure. It could be that this Exonite plant, the light it gives off just kind of recolors a little bit of the other stuff, but like the benches here are made out of Exonite walls and little honeycomb bits, blocks I think is what it's called. But a really nice, simple but interesting arrangement. I could easily see someone coming here to do maybe a special priesty kind of ceremony. This would be a great little wedding thing. Or just somebody wants to come for a little bit of meditation or whatever. Again, most of the stones for the islands are all the gray stones. They've just built it up mostly probably to cover up the fact that you can see the snowy part of the hill, but also just again to give it some character for each one. Go to this one next. I don't think this one's changed at all. These here, I think it's the ruined pillars that they're using for the posts. Yeah, I don't think I see them too often. I'm not even sure where we actually got them before, to be honest. But this one is like another kind of shrine. It's using the floating pillars that you get from, I think it's Alpha Sanctum. If you complete the Alpha Sanctum adventure or whatever it is, you earn one of the stones and then you unlock the other four from the housing vendor. So you can get multiples of each. Lots of the white weeping flowers and even some of the Farsight Space Suite stuff. And just a variety of different types of little islands. Not all of them are reachable. They're just kind of floating out there, extra little decoration. Again, they've added in the new waterfalls, so they've probably had to reposition some of the stones to better match how the waterfall actually falls. I believe this is new. I think this was a little bit more barren than the last time we were here. I don't remember the little picnic arrangement, but that again is part of the spring decor pack, the tea set. And of course, the tribal mats, they come from the Far Trader Fab Kit, if you haven't picked up any of those yet. And then the fun part, which I hope, I was able to do this morning, and I'm probably going to fail miserably now that we're on live with the stream, but I'm going to try and make my way over to the next islands. Again, you can see they've even done some of the color shifting, I think. It looks like shifting it to a little bit more rosy color for some of the trees. I think this part here is a little reworked. I don't remember the campfire here as well. So they're just using one of the Pell tents, a couple of rugs, a couple of beanbag, well, not beanbag, sleeping bags. Got the little love plushie there from the Valentine pack. I forget where the stone stairs come from. I want to say it was one of those weekend deals. Okay, let's see if I can do this without falling. Whew, shoot. Ugh, told you. I'm not gonna. This is like the hardest part for me. Is trying to get across all this stuff. Let me try it again. I've tried jumping it without the mount, but I do even worse. So just bear with me. I will get us up there eventually. Fingers crossed. Whoops, I can't even do that now. Okay. See. No. Oh, this is bad. Got 3 houses for you today. We may only make it to 2 because I'm gonna take so long getting all through this one. It's embarrassing, but you know, what can I say? I am the worst. Everybody that watches these videos knows by now that I am the worst. Oh, for crying out loud. I'll try it, but that kind of makes me a little dizzy when I do that. So I try to avoid that too. It's weird because this morning I had no problem. You guys make me nervous. That's what it is. I'll blame you guys. Oh, shoot. No, I think that makes it worse for me. I'll try it one more time. If not, then I'm giving up because I can't stay on this one house all day. Get slow, deep breath. I can do it. I shouldn't have tried it this morning. Maybe I used up all my good juju on this morning. Made it to the next one. Yay. Again, I think this part is relatively new. It's kind of a little beach scene, so they've got again, some of the summer decor pack, the beach balls, the towels they're using as little chairs or seats, using the folded and the rolled. The little table is just the brown table. It's kind of one of those that you get in like the starter pack, and they just got it pushed down. Again, a lot of this is from the summer decor pack, including the Barbie and the ice chest. This doohickey, the parasol. I think they've got it pushed down a little bit deeper than usual. And of course, the laid out. It looks like the seaweed version. I think there's like 3 different packs that you can get. And of course, using that waterfall that drips down, they've got it as this little bit of a pool. Got the Taurine gal in her bikini outfit there. Works really nice. A lot of people have been using these waterfalls, you know, kind of upside down and stuff to get that look as well, you know, especially if they don't have the ground to cover it up. But the tops work really well too for little pools. Again, they got the flitter flies and the lily plants and everything. That's all from the waterfall decor pack. But you can see they've added other things like the leafy stalks, even some of the scleris flowers, I think, is one of those, and then the blooming pollen plant that you get from the vendor, just to add some different kinds of colors and things. These upper islands too give you great viewpoints of the lower ones, so great for screenshots and stuff. If you're wondering what that little anime, that's some of that new fireworks stuff that we got from the Starfall event. Again, if you weren't around for the Starfall event, didn't get a chance to unlock all of the firework decor, it doesn't unlock the visual ones like this, but the other fireworks like the crate and the individual fireworks and stuff, you can invite someone that has unlocked it, invite that character to become a roommate, and they can buy them for you. These others, I think, only came from the event itself via drops through the participation in the dailies and stuff. They're pretty wackadoodle, but I've seen some interesting uses, people using them as like rockets from ships in a battle and stuff like that. So it's been pretty fun to kind of see what people do with them. I haven't used them myself, the animated ones, but the regular ones I use quite a bit. Again, great shots for some of the islands that you don't get access to, so you can see how they've worked up this one. With a little bit of a pool and waterfall here too. You can see some of the lower ones here. There's a nice big pool with an overturned boat, a gondola. I could probably jump down there, but I'm kind of hesitant to do that because I'm not sure I can get back up again. So I might do that after. You see there's a rainbow with a pile of gold. Let's see if I can do that after we go to this one. I think this one is pretty much the same. Again, they're using it kind of like an overlook, so it's a great view of where the main house is. Again, pretty color change here. At least I don't think that's the actual color of that particular tree. Got a very serene kind of feel to it as well. Okay, let me see if I can jump to the lower islands over here. No promises, because it looks like it's directly over the other one, so I don't know if I can drop down safely. Be a close call. Wonder if I can get there from the bridge. Woohoo! So close. So you have this little pool underneath the one for the little treasure. That's again from, I think it's the spring decor pack, the little treasure bucket, cauldron, whatever you want to call it. Then a couple of the treasure piles, and of course the golden lop. Kind of in the right spot here. And here's the other one. Looks like a couple of the, it's like 2 or more of these snowy hills to make this little almost horseshoe shape. That's okay, Aurora. That's why I send everything to YouTube later, because I know it's not convenient for everyone every day. So I don't hold it against you if you missed it yesterday. I'm happy that you were able to watch it later, though. Okay, so last but not least is the connecting plot, or the connecting island, I should say. Goes through the tunnel, log tunnel, and oh my gosh, I gotta do another jumping thing. I made it. No falling. Thank you. Thank you. Now this has been reworked pretty extensively. There might be a few things that you recognize from before, but I think they just pretty much redid the whole deal. I happened across it while they were actually there rebuilding it, and I promised that I would come back when they were finished. So here we are. So, of course, the stepping stone path, that's the stones from the Starcom Basin area. You can get those. You don't have to have a real, I think you just have to be liked by the faction, so you get them pretty early on. And you can see they have a multitude of uses that we've seen people make caves out of them, using them as pathways like this. I've seen some size them up to the point of making mountains out of them. So they have a lot of versatility. They look nice. And because it's a little clump of stepping stones, it looks, you can kind of get away with using fewer than if you were to have just a single round rock and try to place them all like this. That would be a ton of decor to try and build this up like this. You can see they've added a lot of grass, so it looks like an unmowed lawn kind of thing. Lots of the spring plants. And a lot of trees like the ginkgo trees and stuff, they've recolored to make them look autumnish, fall-like colors. Again, the color shifting, I think, is being used for a lot of that. Over here we have a little swing in the, called the weeping willow tree. Just a simple couple of chains and 2x4. You don't have to get super fancy with little details like this. You can have it very nice and simple, and it's recognizable as what it's supposed to be. This here, I think, is the celestial, or no, the gnarled arch or something, or maybe it's both, celestial gnarled arch or whatever. It's kind of a rare item. I've got one myself, but I still haven't used it. And then, of course, the taurine stone door everybody loves. That one blends in really well with the gray stones of almost all of the sorts. So it's, especially when you're doing cave elements, it's really easy to hide. And you almost don't notice it. So here we have a really lovely little home divided up into sections. So this would be the living room kind of area. I love how they've got this little inset space for where the television and the couch and stuff are. Looks very posh and expensive, like a a winter, a place someone goes to get away from the winter time, summer house or something. Oversized rugs for the like carpeting part. They're using some of the snow blocks. I see arches and probably blocks themselves uh, for not only the back of the couch, but the arms and even the table here appears to be the arches. This is like probably either a dome or one of the solid cylinders, and then some domes or cylinder just layered up to make it a little thick. Curved wall maybe for this one. You see how the balloon is just wildly going all over the place. Again, the balloon used to be used for a lot of red features for like berries and apples and fruit bowls and things like that, but it's really hard to do that, especially on the exterior. Sometimes I see them, they behave in the interiors on some plots, but not all of them. But definitely on the exterior, they just kind of go wild, so you can only use them as a balloon, which is kind of disappointing. If you're wondering about the purple pinkish heart, that's again from the Valentine decor pack. The same with the plushies, they all come from that same thing. Love the fireplace. It makes use of those burning fire tracks, just one long fireplace built in with some glass, and of course the thorny log piles. Yeah, or I can't even remember where I got mine. I think I just happened to catch it on the AH when they first come out, um, and I was lucky enough to grab it. I'm not even sure if it was that cheap, but since then I haven't seen any myself. Of course, I haven't been on for a couple of weeks, so who knows. Most of this interior is triangle pieces, the Exile version. See how they've got that nice little clip pattern here, and this little divot or whatever you want to call it, the inset part is hover part pieces with a little bit of Exile floor, it looks like, for the base. I don't know which hover part piece it is. You'd have to kind of experiment. There's like 90 pieces, so I don't really keep track of them all. And of course, they've got their little Pumera pet. They gave a couple of plushie and toy bits. They got some food bowls. And they do have a ladder to get you to upstairs, but it's easier to go a different route than to try and you can't actually climb it. So, but I love how there's like lots of glass windows, and even the ceiling is a dome, a glass dome. Um, we've seen various versions of the glass domes. It's just very carefully placed framed glass. I've done one myself, and I even did a demo on how I did it, or kind of how I did it. But it's just one of the things you have to play around with. You can see that the patterns uh, are different depending on your spacing and the size of the glass you use and just how overlapped you go with it. But it turned out really pretty here. Let's go this way first, I guess. Again, it looks like a cylinder, curved wall or something for that little hallway. This is like the library office space. So you've got uh, bookcases galore. You've got a few like mementos, statues and things around. This one's a little display case. They're using the book as like the descriptor of what's inside it. I want to say it's the same thing that was elsewhere that was blue colored and they just recolored it orange here, but I really can't say for sure. But dome and then a cylinder for the base with the curved glass. Makes for a really cute little display case. Not too many pieces and all that kind of thing. The desk, they've cleverly made it like an extended desk. It's actually the I guess it's the investigator's desk that they've covered up with 2x4s, and then 2x4 drawers with little bottle handles to cover up the original desk, but they're still able to use like the book and the bottles and the lamp that comes on it. And then they extended it by capping it with a travel poster and then just laying out a couple more. And then for the legs, they're using the flat metal table. So it's several pieces to get all that worked up, but it makes it look unique, different to everybody else's basic desk. And of course, here they've done their own little makeshift bookshelves. Now they've got these bookshelves here placed in 3 places, and then the overstuffed trophy cabinet, and then a couple of cabinets that they filled themselves. It's just a lot of metal edge 2x4s, regular 2x4s, all nice and clean, nicely cluttered, but not to the point of just overstuffed, other than the one that comes that way. But again, these are the ideal places to put things that maybe you wouldn't otherwise be able to fit into your theme, like little spaceships and stuff. You know, maybe your plot doesn't require that or call for it. It'd look out of place otherwise. Using it as a little figurine on your shelf, that makes it easier to incorporate those pieces. Again, just displaying their boss heads and stuff. This here, the little rug for the seating area, that's either a dome or cylinder that's been recolored, color shifted. I think it's the same with these. I'm not sure if that's its original color or not, to be honest. I know they're supposed to be blue, but that looks more green to me, so not sure. The flower pot in the center is one of the, I think it's a pointed oran pillar, and then they've got some of the tall finger plants or something. I forget what they're called. It's the ones that I use for the cherry blossoms. And I want to say that they've added a little green cylinder in the center for grass, or like mossy bits or something. Again, even with all the other spaces, there's lots of glass, so there's lots of opening. Notice that that would probably make it hard for some builders because you don't have walls to sink a lot of stuff into. So anything you build, like this bookcase and such, you'd have to build it in such a way that you're not worried about anything poking out where you don't want it. So it doesn't leave a lot of room for hiding things against the wall like we're so used to. This is the bedroom slash bathroom area. You've got the dresser here made out of 2x4s and metal edge 2x4s for the drawers themselves. Again, with bottle tops. I think it's actually files being used for that, the handles. Simple, it might be several pieces to get this all into, but it looks nice and neat. And of course, they match that kind of look all the way throughout. So you see the wood being used in many areas. Same with the bed. It has a little hidden drawer on the side. A little bit of decoration with the Winterfest fences along the front. Excuse me. I think they've recolored the some of the pillows, like this one's purple now. This, of course, is the Oran gate being used as the part of the headboard. I think it's the orange shelves, the one that costs renown on the vendor for these little curly bits here. I think they've even recolored the sleeping bags. The little sofa here is just purple pillows, the long ones and the round ones. Again, matching that dresser and bringing it over here. Other side. Their little personal computer. They're using, looks like a travel poster for the mouse pad, one of the, what do you call it? Cryopods, I think, for the mouse with one of the hanging cables connected. This panel here is one of those from the Red Moon decor pack. It comes with like the bar and everything. And I think they use that later in the kitchen that will be seen soon. And of course the ergonomics keyboard, I believe that comes from Grimvault. Look how they're using this little column thing, the Pell thing, as the brain of the computer. They got it hooked up with wires as well. Little decoration showing off some of their posters, some of their faves. Back here is a toilet, our favorite deals to look at. Using the Chua bookcase as the main like tank of it, with a little lever for the flusher. And then domes and cylinders for the toilet bowl. Again, similar work for the dressers that they have for the bathroom counter here. Excuse me, I got like hiccups and burping and everything. It's disgusting. This is the bathtub. Again, it's probably the same pieces that you're using for the little inset in the living room, being used here for the tub. And then a little bit of hover part piece as well here to kind of round it off. 2x4s for the steps, Chua tank for the water source, little bath beads, using the pearls there. Again, notice how they kind of box in the little TV a little bit. It even has some shelves. They probably could have added some other bits maybe to represent like DVDs or a Blu-ray player or something like that. Just using some pillars, box that in a little bit neater. Over here you have the vanity, double mirror. It's just windows boxed in with 2x4s. And again, similar setup. It helps tie your room together. Even if you don't plan to use that particular look throughout the entire house, if you keep it to a space, it works really nice. It just kind of blends it in better, makes it match. Again, lots of windows, and of course the floor, kind of a nice even shape being used with those triangle pieces, make it nice and even and round. This brings us to the dome that's above the living room. And again, they've got some little displays, like almost like a little mini, what do you call it? Not an aquarium, the terrarium, I guess is what it's called for non-water. Great way to show off plants maybe you collected, but you don't have any other place to put them. It's kind of similar to the house we've been to before where it was kind of a summer plot, but they were able to put in a little bit of winter stuff because they had a little display in that way. And this is how you can get this using these little terrarium type things. Here's like a little winter one. This little vase for the plants, that's just bowls stacked up in unusual ways with one of the portable planters. Again, always a constant view of the exterior through the glass. So plenty of sunshine, great place for, you know, great aura feel, I guess. So open. Okay, so let's go back down. Go this way. And this brings us to the kitchen. So here's an example of what I was talking about. I think they've done this on a different plot as well. I can't remember the name of it, but they had a winter scene inside the table, and this one's got more of a spring type scene. But basically, it's just a couple of the arches, some hover part pieces to form the base, so it makes that little cutout, and then they filled it with snowy hills to make the grass, and then added in the little springy features. So here's the fridge. You've got like a double-sided fridge here. That's just two shelves. And I'm not sure exactly what's being used for this. I think it's the Marauder net shelf, the edge of it being used for the handles. And then you have the see-through side refrigeration area. Excuse me. It's I imagine it's actually one pane of glass, but they're able to cover up the leftover over here with the shelves, and then just framed it up a bit with 2x4s, encased it with travel posters, and then added the other type of Marauder shelves or the racks in that part. Of course, that's again one of the Red Moon decor pieces. Again, this is also part of it. The stools come from that set, and I'm sure there's some other pieces as well. But makes for a lovely kitchen countertop. You don't want to do the bar scene. I like how they've got this particular shelf hanging from the ceiling for all their little pans and spices and cookbooks. Over here they're using one of the Winterfest tree shelves as a storage for some of their pots and pans and dishes. Then you've got this one, it's on stilts right above the stove. It's basically that the basic stove, and they've just kind of sunk down and hidden, so all you see are the burners. They've added a vent, and it's just staircase landings for this little cabinet area here. Over here again, very uniform, matchy with the hanging shelves on each side to kind of make it work together. They've got a little cookbook. Notice, I don't think they went through the trouble of putting a stand. I've seen some do that, put a little prop back behind it, but it's not completely necessary. Got a little robot cook, I guess. And then the little island, of course, comes with the kitchen sink, and they've just built around it with travel posters and such to make this little island. The dry rack is just 2x4s and set on a, looks like an oran floor. The kitchen sink, if you're wondering where to get that, that comes from the Boxing Gym Fab Kit. If you can complete it, you can get that. It's also where you get the kitchen towels, both versions. If you make it just to the halfway mark, I think it's 4 battles. If you make it through that, you get a towel, one of the two, and then you have to finish out the rest. I never make it that far. I do the towel and then I run off because I can't beat the other ones. I'm pretty lame on that, but and then you have this little, it's almost like a gazebo kind of terrace setup. It's layered glass to make this beautiful little design, like star shape inside there. Follows the same shape as the roofs of the house. And very cute little couches, nice and oversized. And again, this little rotating bed, that's one of the pieces from the Red Moon decor pack. Again, it's I think it's the cornerstones of the snow blocks being used for the not only the table interior, but also the seating. The drinks are from the summer decor pack. Of course, you got all of the decking, railing, wooden pillars. Just a really lovely little home. And this is one of those types that it could be a very organic way of putting a house together. You start off with one room, and then you just kind of tack on a new one and a new one, and eventually you might have a whole mansion full of little sections, depending on what all you need or want to include. But really awesome build. Like I said, we've toured it before, but there was enough changes that I felt it deserved a second look. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Certainly deserving of some extra attention. I'm going to try and go outside and make sure there's nothing outside that we don't think so. It's mostly just stones encircling the grounds with a few trees and stuff. Yeah, very, very cute. Like how they even have the glass doors open for the little skylight area. Yeah, I don't think we missed anything. Whoops. Woof. That was close. You can see there's a lot of attention to detail and variety and clever uses of certain items to really make this a unique place to visit. Very inspiring. Okay, so the next house is Marcus Achilles, I think. Achilles, something like that. This one's called Best Place Ever Bunker thing. You know, good to be proud of your build. This is kind of a custom house with a laboratory down below, I think it is, if I remember correctly. I'm just going to kind of walk around the grounds first before we start into the house. You can see they've taken the time to put in a lot of plants. That's probably the hardest thing for me, again, is the landscaping, making it look natural and believable. I get a little, I think I become too, like, I have to have everything turned a certain position and lined up just so, and it becomes more like an orchard type of look than just the natural grounds. But here you have a little bit of a camp. It's almost like some kind of a work area where they're, I don't know, producing some, it's like a combination of a barn, but it's also like the livestock and I don't know what. The water source with the water well here. And then back here is like a little, I don't know, strange little pumpkin shrine. I don't know if it's just they didn't want to give up using their gourds from Shades Eve, but they found a little place to stick them. Again, notice they're using the high grasses as a way to kind of indicate where the paths are to these different areas, which I appreciate. It kind of helps me follow through. All right, Bones, you have a good day at work. Notice they do have several of the fab kits put in. So like this one, they've got the party fab kit, I think is what it's called, or festival fab kit. And then they've got the hot springs, but notice they added little features of their own. So here's like some really cute little sunning seats, chairs, loungers, whatever you want to call them. It's a pillar for the base, two of pillows for the cushions, and then decking pieces for the chair itself. Just those little touches to kind of make your fab kits a little bit more your own. Yeah, I think this is the festival one. And then this one is, it's one of the lop ones where you get the little floaty things and you make some weird stuff. I think they've added all this on. It just kind of extends that fab kit out a little bit more. Little picnic area. And a lovely little water feature. Just a little river. See how it just kind of goes off the side. You don't have to build up the caves and stuff as if the water has to have an actual route off the plot or into the plot. This one is just coming out of the stone. Again, the little fab kit. I am not going to do that thing. I will not make it to the top. I forget what this one is. I want to say it's the weather one, and I can see that there's like some bits up here, but I don't trust myself getting up there. But see all the rocks, the plants, just things overgrown. It's not quite jungly, it's not that crowded, but it's close. Then here we have the landing pads for visitors. Just 2x4s for the railings. And look, they're not even necessarily attached specifically, they're just kind of floating. Pillars for the base. Again, little additions like these are great places for you to show off those bombs and things that you've collected. This way. And we'll hit the house from the front. So the pathway leading to the house is, of course, decking pieces. They use that pretty prevalently throughout the house. And you have an option of going several directions. One leads you to the pool area, one leads you to the lab, and then that side section over here, and then one leads you into the main house. So we'll go to the pool side first. This is mostly Oran floors, and they're using, I believe it's the winding rivers for the pool water. You can see it's about chest deep for my character, so it might be like more like a wading pool for some of the taller races, but again, one of those where if you go under the water with your camera, you can see how it doesn't really look all that great, but this is one way. And of course, using the pillows as the little floaties that people can sit on, replicating those nice little lounge chairs for those that are wanting to get a little bit of sun. This one's probably getting the most though, because the others are kind of sitting in the shade. Got a short little ladder for those that want to step in carefully. Not deep enough for a diving pool in my opinion, but they do have one. Just get to it from up here. I think it would be a little hazardous to jump from this height into that shallow of a pool, but there you go. We've seen some pools with like little curved slides, others with multiple diving deals, some with the little seats for the life guards and everything. Some have a little jacuzzi section as well. There's lots of ways you could go with this, but this is nice and suitable for this particular plot. Upstairs to the main house. Again, mostly decking pieces, a lot of exile floors and arches, and a lot of glass. Again, it's one of those, it's kind of more modern feeling because there's so much glass. There's plenty of uh, ways to view the outside, so they really want you to notice the exterior as well. It's not that it's bad to have walls that are blocked off, but a lot of people I've been noticing, for especially for little tiered houses like this, really prefer the open bits. Only thing is, when you build a house like this, because the walls are so thin, you're going to have trouble hiding things. So you're not going to be able to have as much freedom to custom build certain elements because you don't have that luxury of being able to hide it into a thicker wall, that kind of deal. So you've got your living room here, pretty standard. You've got your dining and kitchen here. The kitchen again is decking pieces. The dining is just 4 of those blue light lounge tables stuck together. You can see how they've made it a double shelf to give them some extra storage space to show off some of their foods and stuffs. Yeah, it's very modern. It looks like something you'd see in an architectural book as far as the layout goes. I think I might have pushed it a little further by trying to double up some of the walls just so I could get a little bit more creative with some of the bits. But yeah, this is a great layout and simple build for especially a beginner builder. Um, not having to worry too much about extreme amounts of custom built furniture and stuff. A lot of the furniture in here is pretty much standard as is, but still arranged nicely, and the sections of rooms are clearly defined as to what they are. So again, you have this path down to the bunker house basement lab, or you can come from the front. Again, I like the houses that have multiple paths to several locations, because if you have to, you force your visitor to constantly go back and forth between the same bits, it becomes a little troublesome. We go up again. You have this ongoing balcony. You can watch the sunbathers. Have a little smoke here, and then guests come and watch the game, like the Super Bowl from last weekend. Here's a little bit of custom built for their little pool table here. We've seen many versions of this too, and this one, interestingly, is using books. I think that's the first time I've seen anyone use books for the billiard part. But it's the metal table for the base, and then Cassian pillars for the edging, vents for the holes, the pockets. And I think this is supposed to be like, I don't know if that's supposed to be like obstacles, the little, I guess it's those little monkey drinks. Maybe it's like a snooker type of setup. I have really no idea. Or if those are all supposed to be like certain colored balls or something. I have absolutely no idea on that. I'm not very familiar with billiard tables and the different kinds of games that are played on them. That's what it reminds me of. Like those are obstacles that are put on there or something. And then there's a ladder to the upper floor. I don't think there's anything really much up there. Let's see if we can get up. Okay, it looks like a little mattress and a beer for that part. You could have put a little bar dance thing. You could even put some more sun loungers up here. A little gazebo up top, an upstairs like roof garden. That would be something really good for this area. There's all sorts of things you can go, or you can leave it just like this. Don't have to add all the extra. Okay, let me back inside. This way, I think. Leads us to the bedroom. So again, great view of the plot itself. Using the ornate cabinet or dresser container for the little, I don't know, chest that's at the foot of the bed with one of those golden arrows on it. I presume this is meant to be like the remote control for the TV, not necessarily a bomb thing. Really big shelf here, dressers. I could probably sleep in one of the drawers. Okay. Go down, around, and down again. Leads you to the bar area, like the man cave. Again, another place to watch the big game. They went a little bit more fancy with this area here. Just really nice for those that have a pub or some kind of like an inn/tavern type of deal. This little setup is really cute. I like the way they did that. It's just looks like staircase landings all the way for the cabinets and the dividers for the wine bottles. And then their little treasure pile in the back. So a lot of stuff going on in this little place. It's deceptively cram-packed full of things. Okay, so let's go down to the lab. Again, you can get to this directly from the front, or you can go through the house and then get to it from here. So it looks like a little bit of a like a garage storage kind of building, but it does give you access to the bunker house. And they've built this up pretty strangely. I'm not sure if I've been all through all the bits, but most of the walls are the reinforced barriers, I think. And you can see some Cassian bits, and then the shelves even like some kind of grating, maybe ventilation kind of thing. I don't know what it's supposed to represent exactly. It might be that it's reminiscent of something they've seen in a movie or a television show or something, and I just don't recognize it. But you have, this seems like a little storage area for some of their equipment. And then over here, it looks to be kind of an examination room. There's several tables here, little display area, some scanners. Just getting stuck there. This is the power source, I suppose, of the lab itself. So you got lots of generators and some of those, I don't forget what they call it, pre-bought projector or something. It's this piece and this piece here. You turn on the generators, they all have that electrical bit going on. It's one of those items that you can turn it on and leave the plot, come back, and it's off again. Unfortunate, because there's been some instances where people have wanted the generators actually active like this with all the lightning bits, and have it behind a glass panel. But then when they leave the plot and come back, it's off again, and they have to like move the glass panel just to turn it on to like take screenshots and stuff. So that's the only downside to some of these interactable type of bits. They don't actually stay on like they're supposed to. So keep that in mind if you've got some of that kind of materials and you want to take a screenshot, take it early, or make sure you got everything on that you want on. Okay, I think that's all of it except the main room here. So this is the main lab area. Got these huge monitors. Some of them is like the standing, I think it's called the standing monitor. There's the Exile bulletin board, and there's a couple of the Exile panels, I think it's called. Notice the stairs and the railings are all glass. Very bright blue. It kind of matches all of the monitors and things. So if you go up stairs all the way to the top, if I can make it there, you can see there's probably a lot of room for them to add more things. So maybe this is slightly incomplete, but very spacious. Got a huge library here with another monitor. Again, they've kind of made these look a little cleaner by boxing them in with 2x4s. And it just makes it look, again, very sleek. Kind of takes away from the monotony of using the same bookcase over and over by dressing it up a little bit with the framing. And of course the little table. It's just metal edge 2x4 for the base, and then 3 staircase landings. Various access ways to the top. You got the staircase over here, and then the one down here as well. Goes either way. This appears to be the little snack area, lounge. Got little flip cases for all the different foods. Again, 2x4 staircase landings. It looks like Cassian floor for that main big part. And then of course curved glass. Love the simplicity of this table. 2 pieces. Well, actually they've used multiple pieces for the board, but you could probably get away with a single board if it's on the lower floor. But it's 2x4s and the framed glass. Simple, but it looks kind of classy. And of course the, what do you call it, sectional recliner kind of thing is metal edge 2x4s, and then lots of chew-up pillows. Kind of make it cozy. Lots of sitting space for a group of friends to come and hang out. We go back down, then we get into the more labby part. You've got like a basic little doctor's scientist's office. Got some things on display here. I'm not even sure what all of these things are. I think this is an upside down space suite. That's an upside down candy bucket from Shades Eve. That's the golden skull. But it's just framed glass and a couple of Oran floors, and then Oran floors for around the trim. They could have added handles to make it look like there's like cabinet storage space down here. You could add lights if you want to spotlight certain ones. Same way with this display in the center. bunch of strain bits, stones, curved glass, one giant vent, and then just an assortment of little creatures and bits and baubles. Over here you have kind of like the herbology or hydroponics or some kind of a little growing area, terrarium type thing. Just a huge variety of plants. I mean, you've got all sorts here. There's water type plants, there's some desert type plants, there's spacey ones, grasses, bushes, weeds, all sorts of things. Again, if you have collected a variety of ones that you just don't know where to put them, something like this is a real great way of showing them off. Again, it's just lots of framed glass for the display case itself with the worn floors all along the bottom. Over here is some specimen containers, and it looks like they're working on dissecting this one up. Again, curved glass and the vents, using those spotlights to bring a little attention to each one. And then the last little booth is another kind of a lab works. This one's more like, you know, you've seen those ones where they've got the little robotic arms or something that you kind of control from the outside, and it's working on something that's highly volatile or dangerous inside a contained force or what field or whatever. This is what that kind of represents, I think. They control the little arms with the buttons, and then they manipulate the little data cube. So, well, there's not like a whole lot going on. There's a lot of open space. I really like the layout. You get 3 floors worth of space that you can fill up as you see fit. A lot of glass, though. A very modern looking, very sleek, very clean, sanitized looking as also. Notice how they've dealt with the odd angles and such using those floors at angles. You could probably see it better down here. They've had to overlap them to work that floor up a little better. Really nice. I like the lab.